The most important skill in property investing is you need to be able to value property for yourself to make sure you're never overpaying for a property. In this video, I'm going to go through the 5 steps that will help you assess the value of a property and why you are mad if you're relying on an agent alone to tell you the value of a property. In over 13 years since co-founding British Home Buyers and British Home Sellers, me and my businesses have dealt with over 150,000 valuation requests and dealt with tens of thousands of sales, and there isn't a single postcode in the country we haven't dealt with. So let's get into it. Step 1, the marketing price is not always market value. The price a property is on the market for is a marketing price, not necessarily the market value. It is essentially the price the agent and the seller are asking for, but at the end of the day, it is you, the buyer, that decides what to pay. A property might sell it below, above, or on the marketing price. That is why you cannot blindly accept a marketing price as market value, as the risk is the marketing price may be wrong, and you are then at risk of overpaying for a property. Step 2, find houses that have been sold nearby. Blindly scrolling on what's on Rightmove or Zoopla around the property you're interested in might not actually be the best idea. Like I just mentioned in step 1, the marketing price may not actually represent market value. The classic thing I hear all the time is, well, the house down the street is on the market for 100 grand, therefore mine is worth the same. The reality is that might be true or false. You have to look at what is actually selling, what's sold in the area. You can do this in 2 ways. Firstly, look at the properties that are currently sold subject to contract and the prices they're marketed for. These are properties that are on the market at a certain price and have now had offers accepted. So these are good indicators of properties that have actually been marketed and sold, so they're probably well priced. Now, this isn't foolproof because it is possible they sold it below the marketing price. You also want to look at what the most recent completed sale prices have been in the area for added comparison. You can look at the sold house price section of Rightmove, type in the postcode and see all the most recent sales registered in that postcode. So if, for example, you see a house on the market for 100,000, you can see others on the road marketed at the same or higher, but none are sold. But then you can see there's one on at 90,000 that has sold, and the most recent completed sale is also at 90,000. Then you've got a better idea of what true market value is. In reality, the properties that are selling are priced at 90,000, not the 100. The properties priced above aren't selling and probably overpriced. Step 3, look at price trends in the area. Now, you know what sold in the past, you now want to know if house prices have moved since. For example, if you can see a similar house on the same road sold for 100,000 a year ago, but the market has since gone up in value by 5%, or worse, gone down in value by 5%, which is increasingly common at the moment, then the market value is probably more like 95,000 if the price has gone down, or 105,000 if the price has gone up in value. You can type in the postcode into Rightmove's same sold house prices section, and it will give you a little overview on how prices have moved over the last 12 months. So that can give you a good steering as to if properties are rising or falling in the area generally. Step 4, consider what influences the house's value. So by now you've got a good idea of what's on the market around the property you like, what's currently sold subject to contract, what properties have recently completed for, and an overview of if prices are rising or falling in the area. You now need to consider that properties are not always exact copies of one another. For example, you might have what seems to be identical properties, but one property may be in mint condition, the other may need a complete refurbishment, or one may be extended, the other not, or even slight differences in the area. A classic one is on one side of the road, properties may have train tracks running along the back of their gardens, and on the other side of the road, there isn't. There are loads of different things that can influence the house's value, and you need to be able to assess what those things are for the specific properties you're comparing against. Step 5, ask an estate agent. Now, it might seem like this should have been the first step or the only step, but let me explain. Now you have already done the research and got a confident idea of what's on the market, what's currently sold subject to contract, what properties have recently completed for. You have an overview of if prices are generally rising or falling in the area, and an idea of all the individual things that might influence the property's value that you're looking at. You're now in an excellent position to have a productive conversation with an agent. They immediately will see that you're armed with knowledge. This makes you far more credible to them as agents and allows you to have a more constructive conversation with them. A conversation that is realistic. Remember, if you are buying a house, they don't work for you, they work for the seller. So they want to get their client the best price possible. Being armed with knowledge puts you in a strong position to cut through the sales talk and have a productive conversation. If you liked this video, I've also created a video that answers the question on if house prices double every 10 years. To watch, click the video up here. Thanks.